In today's episode of the More Members Now podcast, we're going to talk about 100 goals. What would it be like for you to set and achieve 100 goals this coming year? I'm going to give you my very simple plan to make it happen and tell you more about how you can achieve these 100 goals.
Welcome to the More Members Now podcast with Scott Whitaker, where you can get more members, increase retention, and multiply the profits from your membership program. And now, your host, best-selling author, speaker, and founder of Membership Multipliers, Scott Whitaker.
So let's talk about 100 goals. Here we are. I don't know when you're listening to this, but we're at the end of the year. And regardless of when you may be listening to this, it's a good time if you haven't planned 100 goals. Now is the time for you to do it. You look at that number like, okay, Scott, why 100 goals? Well, you've heard of this BHAG goals, like big, hairy, audacious goals, BHAG. It's one thing for you to set like BHAG goals and then be like extremely big, hairy, audacious goals and only have like, 2 or 3 of those. That can cause some growth. And I've used those BHAG goals to, grow myself. But how much more could you grow if you set out to grow by 100 goals that weren't necessarily all BHAG goals? How much better could you be? What would you experience in your life? What would your relationships be like? What would that do for you personally? What would that do for your business if you had 100 goals, no matter how big or how small or how simple, I should say, those goals may be? What would that do for you? So I've got a little exercise I want to share with you. It's one that I try to practice every year. And that is I at the end of the year, will take out my journal and I will write my 100 goals. And the way I do it is it's very simple. I have come up with 10 domains. What I mean by domains is like 10 sections that those goals would fall under. And I'm going to share with you my 10 domains so that you can take them and use them. And then underneath each domain, now all I need to do is come up with 10 goals. Very simple process. So for example, one of the domains would be physical. What are my physical goals for this coming year? And I will write 10 goals. So one of my goals is to get back and running again and to be able to run 10 miles at one time. Now, this past year, I got really close to it. I got to 8 miles in one time. Now, this year, I want to surpass it and I want to get to 10. So that's one. Another physical goal would be to continue my diet plan that I've been using and been on recently, that I want to continue to push my diet plan and be more consistent with that diet plan. And under that diet plan, I've got a bunch of things that I'm doing. So that may sound more general, but I know exactly what I mean by that, my diet plan. So what else could it be physical? I'm going to take a walk with my spouse at least once a week. Maybe that should be a physical goal, that now, you're now out walking with somebody. What other physical goals could you come up with? Then the second domain is financial goals. Listen, if you're not out of debt, it's one thing to set a BHAG goal and say, I'm going to get out of debt this coming year. But, depending upon your debt level, what if you just said, I'm going to pay off 2 credit cards this year? And I'm going to set that as a small goal just to get that from underneath me. So, you got a debt goal. Hopefully you have a savings goal. Hopefully you have a generosity goal. That's one of my goals every year, is I always try to outdo my generosity from the previous year. So what is your generosity goal this coming year? What else could it be in the way of your financial goals? Maybe you need to hire a bookkeeper. Maybe you need to get a new bookkeeper. Maybe you need to meet with your CPA. Maybe you need to set a goal of like, I am going to have a meeting with my CPA and I'm going to leverage the tax benefits that are available to me. Maybe that's one of the financial goals. Then there's this personal category. Now, for me, the personal category is this is where I get to put all the goals that are personal to me. They don't necessarily fall underneath one of the other domains that I'm going to share with you. Or maybe I have more than 10 goals when it comes to finances. And so then I'll just put the goals 11, 12, and 13, those 3 additional goals, maybe I'll just put them under personal. So personal domain is one of these catch-all. And so you get to put whatever you want in that personal domain. You just come up with 10. So right now, we've already captured 30 goals, 10 physical, 10 financial, 10 personal. What about education goals? So set a goal. Say, I am going to attend this conference. I'm going to get involved in this membership program, i.e., if you're not in the Membership Accelerators Club or Membership Multipliers with me, you should be in that. We've also released a mastermind. Like, you lead a membership business, you should be in a membership business dedicated to helping you grow. Maybe your education goals are how many books you're going to read, how many books you're going to listen to. By the way, those would be 2 different goals. I'm going to read this number of books, and I'm going to listen to this number of books on Audible. So you've got educational. Now, the next domain may not apply to everyone, but I would like to think that it applies to the majority, and that is spiritual. What are your spiritual goals? Many of you know that, I've been a pastor. I serve in my local church. I volunteer. What's your role spiritually? Is it reading the Bible? Is it serving? Is it giving? You could put some of those goals here under spiritual goals. Maybe it's to have a retreat and just get away and spend some time in study and in prayer. Maybe it's to actually pray and set a goal of, I just want to pray 2 minutes a day, and you start somewhere. The next one is business. So we've got physical, financial, personal, education, spiritual, and business. What are your business goals? How would you like to grow your business? Well, you can grow your business obviously by, increasing your sales. But, that's one way. But that doesn't mean you're going to be more profitable just because you increased your sales. So maybe you want to increase your sales, but you also, as a second goal, you want to increase your profitability. And in order for you to increase your profitability, you may need to either hire some new staff, hire a virtual assistant, outsource, leverage your time so that you can be selling. What are your business goals? How about friendship goals? Friendship goals. Are you needing to make new friends? Maybe you have a goal or should have a goal that you're going to make X number of new friends this coming year. Maybe it's that you need to spend time with your existing friends this coming year. And so you could literally say, I'm going to increase the amount of time I spend with John Doe. And then I'm going to increase the amount of time that I spend with Jane Doe. Those would be like 2 different goals there. I'm going to spend more time with John. I'm going to spend more time with Jane. I'm going to do this with this friend over here. So what friendship goals do you have? What about marriage? And for those of you who may not be married, you can insert significant other. Is it finding somebody to be your spouse? Is it getting out there and dating? And by the way, that applies if you're married too. Maybe you need to get out there and date your spouse. You see, my wife and I, we've set a goal that we're going to have a date night every week. And as I look back over this past year, I'm proud to say that, there's been some weeks where we've actually had more than one date night. Partly because of our stage of life and our kids are getting older and we're able to do that. So what are your marriage goals? What would you like to do as a goal for your spouse, for your significant other? Who would you like to become for your spouse or your significant other? So you've got marriage goals. The next one, again, may or may not apply to everyone, but parenting goals. Parenting goals. So, I set goals for my 2 daughters, Mackenzie and Emily. And I've got goals that I would like to help Mackenzie achieve. And I have goals that I would like to help Emily achieve. And it's not goals for them, but goals in the way of me investing in them, investing in that relationship. One of my goals was to take my youngest daughter this past year, or actually a year ago, we did this, take my youngest daughter on a trip to Israel. So we did that. That was one of my goals. I have a goal for my oldest daughter to do the same. Just so happens that her calendar didn't quite align with what mine and my youngest needed, our calendars, where we had the availability to do it. So she was unable to go with us. So I still carry over that goal of I want to invest in her and her experiences. I want to spend time with them. My oldest daughter, she's no longer living at home. She's flown the coop. So, set a goal of, I want to make sure that I talk with her, every week. And quite honestly, I want to make sure I talk with her more than every week. I want to talk with her every day. So I send her little text messages. I, will send her little voicemails. She doesn't always answer my calls. Even as a grown young woman, she doesn't always answer my calls. So I'll leave her a voicemail. Do little things for her. Send her gifts. So those are parenting goals. Finally, just to recap, the 10 domains, we've got physical, financial, personal, education, spiritual, business, friendship, marriage or significant other, parenting, then lastly, experiences. What would you like to experience? Now, this may be a little bit different than your personal goals, but what experiences would you like to create? Well, I want to create memories with my wife. So I want to take her to some different travel destinations. I want my daughters to experience. One of the conversations we recently had was I want to provide my daughters with an opportunity for us to all go snow skiing together. We've never done that. We've never all been as a family snow skiing. I've been snow skiing many times before, but I've never taken my family to go do that. So I want to rent a little chalet on the slope, be able to have that for a few nights, and just be able to ski in and ski out and take them snow skiing and snowboarding. It's one of the experiences I'd like to provide. What experiences would you like to have this coming year? It's very simple. 100 goals, 10 goals in every domain. You might think in the beginning, I can't name 100 goals, but then you start listing out these domains of physical, financial, personal, education, spiritual, business, friendship, marriage, significant other, parenting, and experiences. You'll get there. And here's the thing about goals. Some of you might be saying, well, Scott, there's no way I can attempt these 100 goals. There's no way I will accomplish all of these 100 goals. Well, maybe the goal isn't you actually getting these goals done. Maybe it's the person and the process that you go through in order to attempt the goal. You see, so many times I hear people talking about the outcome of the goals and wanting to make sure that the goals are achievable and that they're going to be able to make it happen. But sometimes I look at a goal, I want it to be so big that I know I'm going to fail, just because by going through it and attempting it, I will become a different person. So as I look back on my 100 goals from the previous year, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to have attempted so many goals, because I know I am a different person than the year previous. So that's my exercise on 100 goals and why you should set them and why on some of them you should not achieve them, but the person that you'll become is what you should look forward to. Hey, listen, if you haven't done so already, I want to invite you to go over to Facebook and go to facebook.com/groups/membership marketers. I want you to request an invitation into that group because it is a special private group just for membership marketers like you. And so request access to that group. We'll get you inside the group and you'll be able to get more tips and tools to grow yourself and to get more members. And as always, I want to invite you to subscribe to the More Members Now podcast at moremembersnowpodcast.com. Be sure to keep an eye on all of our upcoming episodes, one brand new episode released every week.
You've been listening to the More Members Now podcast with Scott Whitaker. To find out more about Scott or learn how you can grow your membership business, visit membershipmultipliers.com. Or you can also get a free copy of Scott's brand new book, Accelerate, How to Get Your Next 10, 100, 500, or 1,000 members. Just go to acceleratemymembership.com.